Hello, and welcome to another edition of What Does the Giraffe Say Media with me, Kathleen Retourne. We're an organisation that aims to connect people in conservation and animal welfare by holding live interviews on social media. Today, I'm very happy to be joined by Franck, who works at J.A.C.K Sanctuary. So before I go into more questions, Franck, if you could just give us a little bit of details about yourself and what inspired you to start the sanctuary.
Yes, thank you so much. Good evening, Kathleen. Good morning. Good evening, everybody. Yes, so since I was a child, I was always passionate about wildlife and especially great apes. After university, we decided with my girlfriend at that time to go to Zaire, the former name of DRC at that time, in 1994. And we stay here for 3 months, but now we have been here for 30 years, so we never left the country. And when we arrive in this city, Lubumbashi, which is the second largest city after Kinshasa, the capital, it was just terrible to see, all these babies, chimpanzees, I mean, offer to sell on the streets. So I was aware of the problem because when I was a teenager, I was living in Spain, where you have all these babies, coming from East Africa to West Africa to Canary Islands. So the babies were, roaring close to take pictures on them. So I know what was going on what is happening, in all the continent with great apes shooting a whole family in order to get a baby to sell it as a pet. So it was very, very complicated, to do something here. We were very young. We don't have any money. Authorities at that time were really not collaborating, willing to stop any kind of trafficking. So it took a while, since 1994 to 2006, where because during all this period, I was taking informal data about the trade, about all these babies, where they're coming from, how much you sell them, etc. So if you want, in one decade, 1994 to 2004, I established clearly that 3 baby chimpanzees were reaching Lubumbashi every month from the forest in order to cross Zambia, because we are 1 hour from the border, to go to South Africa and then to rest of the world, especially Asia and China. So if you want, in 10 years, decade, I established that because to get one baby, you have to shoot the whole family. So in 10 years, 5,000 chimpanzees were killed in the wild just to do that business here in Lubumbashi, So, and authorities didn't want to confiscate any animals. And as I only a citizen, I can't do it. I can't do it myself. But in 2006, somebody called me and said, "You have to do something. One baby is attached on a bicycle. You have to call the authorities." And I called the authorities again. And that day, they confiscate that baby. And believe me, at that time, we didn't know that that baby, we call him Jack, was going to change our life forever. So we start with that confiscation, and sadly, months after, because at that time we were in the zoo, we didn't have any money, so in order to build the whole sanctuary. So, and in September 2006, we have the first attack from poachers, traffickers, and they attacked the zoo, and they set a fire where the baby was sleeping, killing Jack. And the story started like this with Jack. This is why we called the organization Jack in honor of that baby who was assassinated by these people, and we start the sanctuary.
And did you have any, I imagine probably not. How on earth did you learn how to look after and care for baby chimpanzees?
Well, as I told you, I was passionate about wildlife, and so I've been in many zoos in Europe. So I read a lot, and then it's something. I have two kids, so chimpanzee, because he's so close to humans, is it's not so different. So you just have to give love to these animals because this is what they need most. They lost their whole family in such horrible circumstances, and they are just dying. And you have to provide them love, give surrogate mothers or fathers in order. And even today, I am always surprised. We just have a baby who arrived today, another one, and we have rescued nearly now maybe 60 chimpanzees, and I always surprised about how they can recover, knowing that humans, I'm speaking about our species, we have they have been with so many trauma, how they can trust again people, because of course when a baby is arriving, he doesn't know who we are, and of course we are the good people, we are not the traffickers or the hunters, but how they know that so quickly that they can trust humans again.
Yeah, no, it's pretty incredible and just goes to show their capacity. You mentioned earlier that you have to kill the whole family to get one baby. For those who are watching back home and may not understand the reason why, can you give a bit of explanation about that?
Yes, so you have major threats for great apes in DRC. So many things, of course. Loss of habitat is the first one, but then you have, of course, bushmeat is a big issue. We will maybe have time to speak on that. But then you have the illegal wildlife trade. As you know, many animals are on the target: elephants, rhinos, pangolins, but great apes. You have really stupid people around this planet who are desperate to have a baby chimp as a pet. And this is terrible. And because that demand, well, the hunters here who are linked to these international traffickers, well, they just go into the forest to get babies. And well, of course, the mother, the alpha male, and all is a family, is a whole family living in the bush peacefully, and they will not allow people to take their babies. So in order to take the babies, to remove the babies from the family, they shoot the whole family in order to get 1, 2 babies in order to sell them. Most of them are going now to China, Thailand, Middle East, Dubai, and it's so sad. You see that every day on social media. Very rich people who has a pet, a chimp, an orangutan, a bonobo, a gorilla, a tiger, and I mean this is becoming very crazy. And I mean the world is not learning about the mistakes we are doing. And of course, they are not pets, they are wild animals. And of course, when he's a baby, like every animal, they are cute, but they grow very quickly. And when the chimp is becoming adult, he has the power of, well, it's depending, 3, 4, 5 men. So a chimp, an adult male chimpanzee, or even a female, can kill you in few seconds with one hand. So it's just completely stupid what people are doing.
And what does happen then once the babies have grown out of the cute stage? What do people do with them then?
Well, we have some information about people. Even in France, I remember that story. It was in a circus, So they were having babies all the time. And of course, they couldn't breed because they were not adults. So, and years after, when they make I think you said in English, perquisition in the houses, they found all the bodies of all the adult chimps. So these people were killing the chimps when they become adults in order to order more babies. And of course, this is what's happening in China right now, Thailand or Middle East. I'm sure a lot of people are killing the chimps when they become adults in order to get other babies. Or what they do, well, they put these adults because nobody wants an adult chimp. Is not a game, to maintain these animals in captivity. They are very strong, very clever. So they just go to zoos, and believe me, that kind of zoos in China are not with you know the what I mean. They are not in good condition. So it's just completely stupid. How people can uh, can continue to do that business. And of course, it's continuing because you have that demand, and of course, social media are really not helping to promote these kind of things around the planet. And secondly, well, it's a big business because these people are selling these babies, apes, for a lot of money.
Yeah, no, all for their own selfish gain and with no thought of what that animal has to go through. It's absolutely horrific. We have a question coming in through from Winnie. Hi, Winnie, regular and very big supporter of the show and of your work as well. And she is asking, how long does it take the ones you rescue to settle into your sanctuary?
Well, it's depending on the individual. Every chimpanzee like us is unique, so he has his own personality. So it can take months, because of course chimps are in quarantine for 3 months due to you know disease transmission. So we are very strict on that, not to contaminate, of course, the staff for sure, the first one, and then other animals. But then it's completely depending on the trauma they have received from humans. As I told you, some animals. I remember that story really at the beginning when we started in 2006, when we confiscated chimpanzee here in Lubumbashi who were in with a Chinese guy. The Chinese guy was smoking, and you know what? Every time he was finishing smoking his cigarette, he was crushing his cigarette on the back of the chimp. So that animal was just terrified about the light, about of course, the fire. So that animal was completely crazy. Um, another story, for example, so that one take 2 years to bring that animal back to a group. Another one, for example, I don't know if you can imagine that, and I see the picture. A female chimpanzee was kept in a private house in a parrot cage. So she couldn't move. The back was completely destroyed. She was completely crazy. So can you imagine? She couldn't even turn like this in the crate, do anything. So, it's just unbelievable. Then you have people giving drugs, giving alcohol, because of course, when these animals are becoming with alcoholic, of course, they are completely drunk. So people make them dance, and they are, you know. So we have so many stories about how it's just unbelievable what people. And I will finish with an adult chimp we rescue, a male, who was, in a bordel. So he was with prostitutes. So he was there like a dog, empêché, to prevent the prostitute escaping the bordel. So he was attached with a rope around his neck. So that chimpanzee, when he arrived at the sanctuary, he ate women, and we didn't know why. And then we discovered the story of that chimp. So it was just when he was seeing a woman, he was just crazy because, of course, all these prostitutes were not doing good things on the chimps. They were biting him all the time. And so the trauma, I mean, the psychological trauma, because they are so clever, is
Yeah.
taking sometimes years and years to recover.
Wow. I mean, it just breaks my heart. Some of these things these animals have been through, and they've done absolutely nothing to deserve it. With you kind of touched on it a little bit at the start of the interview. People look at the chimpanzees, especially when they're babies and they're in sanctuaries, and they think it's all cute, cuddly chimps. But actually, you guys have been through an awful lot dealing with people in the DRC that are not necessarily wanting you to be stopping them doing these illegal trades. It's actually a fairly dangerous environment for you guys. Can you tell us a little bit about some of the things that have happened, and then how do you combat that?
Well, of course, is when you do what we are doing, it's not a game. We are not making friends. We are really fighting against, not only the hunters, the poachers, the little trafficker in the country. You have the big guys outside, and these guys, they are big mafias. They are very dangerous people. Everything is related with the activities. So it's not only illegal wildlife trafficking, is weapons, is drugs, is human trafficking. So it's a lot of dirty money, and we have experienced very, very bad stories. But the worst one was nearly 1 year ago, when people, and we still don't know who is behind this, attacked the sanctuary, during the night, stealing free babies, kidnapping free babies, chimps. So it was just, and we were not fortunate. That is the first time ever in the world that is happening, that people are kidnapping great apes, asking a ransom. So it was just, believe me, terrible moments. At that moment, I was not here. I was in Europe for fundraising events and things like that. So my wife was alone. So they threatened my wife with death. They planned to kidnap my own kids because they were planning to come here in July and August. So that story nearly destroyed us, believe me, morally speaking. We are completely, and it's not only the fact that they stole free babies, and of course it was a terrible moment, but everything who came after that, the pressure we received from them all the time. We lost nearly 80% of the staff. People resigned. People were arrested by authorities because, these animals, once they are confiscated by authorities, they are the property of the state of the Democratic Republic of Congo. So they stole the part of the property of the country. It's not just stealing some monkeys, or because people were, oh, you exaggerate what happened to you. No, they stole. This is the property of the country. They belong to DRC. So, of course, we involved the authority at a very high level, just to help us, in order to try to find these babies and to secure my family.
And there's been no update since?
No updates, unfortunately. I strongly believe that, of course, they are alive. If not, they will send us the picture in order to damage us more. But now the question is, are they still in DRC somewhere? Or what I'm sure is that they are somewhere in the world. They can be in Asia, in Middle East, or I don't know, people sold them already. But what these people don't know is that, and this is what is going on with the trade. A lot of people are lying about the trade, making fake documents, saying that baby was born in a zoo, so then it's okay to sell a baby when he was born to a zoo. But these chimps were stolen from their home, from DRC. They belong to, and believe me, we know them. They know us, and even if we find them in 10 years, we know their face. And the people who bought them, they will have a lot of problems. It's going to be really something who is going to make a lot of problems to these people because they stole, you know, because we will never stop, you know, searching for them. Never. We will never forget them.
And I mean, it must have been, it's not an easy job to steal a chimpanzee. They're quiet, they're very vocal and noisy, and they can be aggressive and that's that kind of stuff. So these people must have had a bit of an idea of what they were dealing with.
Oh, for sure. You know, is the people who are doing that business, you know, they know what they do. And but for sure, we know that somebody from the staff was involved. We don't know who, but of course they have to, because as you said, to enter in a sanctuary at 1 o'clock at night with rangers with weapons, you have to know where the chimps are. They have to know you. So we know that the chimps were sedate with some drugs. So they were very organized people. And of course, when they are babies, if you sedate them, then is easy to do something. But again, you have to know how much drugs you have to give to them, not too much, not too less. So no, they really you know, do it's. But who can know now? Of course, we have enforced security all around the sanctuary and other sanctuaries in the world. I know they have done the same because, you know, we were not the first one. You know, in South Africa many years ago was the same story in a rhino sanctuary when they attacked the sanctuary in South Africa, shooting all the babies rhino and cutting the horns and you know. So I mean, I hope it's not going to happen again somewhere else in the world. But you know what, Kathleen, these animals are becoming more and more rare in the forest. And you know, in sanctuaries, you have all these babies, orphans, who are healthy, and so we just have to be very careful, you know, just to prevent it will never happen again somewhere else in the world. So we have to be extremely careful and really to reinforce security and to be really careful with your staff, you know, really to trust your staff. And because believe me, what happened to us, it was just nightmare. It maybe the correct word, but I think it's more than this. It was absolutely not even possible, you know, to believe that such things can happen, you know.
Yeah. No, I'm so sorry that that you guys went through that, and I hope that these chimpanzees are found and taken back to their rightful place. Kind of switching it up a little bit from there. We have mainly focused on the chimpanzees as we've been talking, because I think predominantly that is, well, that's how you started and that's what you're known for. But you do also have quite a lot of other wildlife in your sanctuary. What other kind of animals are you getting in? And is it again due to the illegal wildlife trade?
Yes, so we are, you know, we are rescuing all kind of animals, not only mammals. It can be birds, it can be reptiles, turtles, crocodiles, and mammals. Well, you know, all the time since the beginning, I really wanted to save all primates in DRC. And DRC has a lot of primates. You know, you have 41 different species in this country. It's the third country in the world with so much variety of monkeys, primates. But of course, chimpanzees were taking a lot of time, a lot of money to build enclosures, and I feel so bad. Sometimes we went to do a confiscation at the beginning, people calling us and, oh, this is a gorilla, this is a chimpanzee, and you arrive and is a baboon, is a vervet, is a guinean, and we couldn't take them at that moment. But in 2020, in September, some traffickers again cross the border illegally from DRC to Zimbabwe in order to reach South Africa. And Zimbabwe authorities confiscate, arrest a truck at the border, and they confiscate the truck, and you have 30 monkeys hiding on the truck. So it took 5 months for us to repatriate, thanks to, of course, the authorities of DRC, the authorities in Zimbabwe, authorities in Zambia, to bring back all these monkeys to DRC. So it seems very easy, something which is not important, but it was the largest repatriation of primates in history for the African continent, and we brought back all these animals. So we have a lot of sponsors, donors at that time who help us, because I say, okay, I'm fine to bring all these animals to their home, but I don't know where to put them. So we build fantastic enclosures, and now we are rescuing a lot of monkeys. Since 3 years now, we have more than 100 different monkeys from 20 different species, and most of them are coming from the middle of DRC, in the Congo Basin, in Loja, where we are working in partnership with APACOL, another NGO who is doing a fantastic work there. And they are really confiscating all these babies, from the bushmeat market, but also for the trade, the illegal international trade. Yeah, it's very sad what is going on, because of course everybody is focused on great apes, which is okay, but monkeys, the trade in monkeys is just unbelievable. Unbelievable what is going on with all these monkeys in Africa. And if we are not careful, they will be extinct very soon.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. We have a comment coming in through from Stacey. Hi, Stacey. As I said, she was the one who actually got us in touch. She's saying, in addition to your online fundraiser, which we will get to in a minute, do you plan on selling that shirt you're wearing? I think she's keen. Oh, I think he's frozen a little bit there. Hopefully he'll be coming back.
Yes, thank you so much, Stacy. No, that T-shirt was made by. Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, sorry, keep going. Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes, so that T-shirt was offered to me a few months ago, but by a very good friend of us, a passionate for Jack. She's living in San Francisco, and she built Friends of J.A.C.K Sanctuary. So we now have an NGO in America, which is called Friends of J.A.C. And she made that T-shirt, only 3 of them. And well, why not? I think is a good idea, Stacy, and we can plan to do so. And because of course we will never forget all these babies, and we have a petition also on social media. So yeah, it's a good idea. Thank you.
Well, I'm sure she'll be your first customer if that's the case. So we've touched on a lot of the hardships that you've had and some of the things that you've had to face, and it's absolutely not easy at all. For me, I'm based in Zambia. I did spend a bit of time in Chimpanzees at the sanctuary there, and some of their stories were heartbreaking. But for people who are seeing this on social media, just the videos and the images are quite hard to go and look at alone. How do you keep motivated? What keeps you going? And what would you advise others to stay positive in these?
Well, as you said, it's very hard to see all this, to watch this, and even more when you are walking in a bushmeat market, to see all these animals dead or and the smelling of all this is just terrible. But then you forgot everything when after 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, that baby who arrived, even with a bullet in the arm or was with no hair, completely traumatized with the wrong behavior. And when finally that baby is arriving at the sanctuary and is able to join his family again, and well, you forgot everything that he was passing through. You forgot everything, and the way he reacted to
Oh, we seem to have lost a bit of connection at the minute. Hopefully, he'll be able to come back through on the same link and we'll be able to keep this conversation going. Meanwhile, on October the 3rd, it is a Global Giving Day for apes. So if you are interested in supporting the work that J.A.C are doing, I would suggest heading over to their website or onto their social media pages. They're very active across all the different social pages, and having a look at some of the work that they're doing. And there's links there too that should be able to take you to the pages so you can donate to support the work that they're doing. I think as we were hearing, the work that they're doing has been incredibly challenging. It would have broken a lot of people, and it just shows the love and care that they have for these wildlife to keep pushing through, keep going. I know that when we spoke prior to the interview, they mentioned that they've been getting more rescues than ever. And in fact, they even got a new baby today, baby chimpanzee. So it goes to show that this work is needed and that we need to keep on supporting the work they're doing because they can't do it without us. I can see J.A.C coming back in now, so I'm going to add him back into the stage here. Hello, J.A.C, you're back.
Yes.
Thanks.
Sorry, I didn't know what happened.
It's okay. It's live. Things happen.
Yes.
So yeah, we were discussing basically how you keep motivated, and I know you mentioned earlier that you're getting more animals than ever before, and I think you said you got a new baby chimpanzee even just today, and more to come.
Yes, the situation really, really out of control. I don't know why it's happening now, so much animals, but of course we are going deeper and deeper in the forest with much more. We are covering more areas, so of course we discover more and more animals. But believe me, there are hundreds of chimps and monkeys today in villages, in markets, who are just desperate to receive some help, and really, really is not easy because this country is huge. I mean, and when you organize a rescue, is so costly. I mean, you have to hire private plane, motorbikes, all legal documents you have to, because you have so many controls on the road, and then the official documents to have the babies properly entering to your sanctuary. So really, really, and of course, these baby they are dying, so they need help urgently. And sometimes, you are just organizing the rescue, and in the meantime, they just die. So it's really, really sad to see that, they are just destroying one of the most
I think we got you back.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Viewers.
Okay, but they are based in the DRC, so we'll cut them some slack because I know it's not always easy getting Wi-Fi when you are very far away. We've got a link that Stacey has kindly put in the comments section. So if you are interested in donating towards their page, then towards their project, then this is the link here. The clickable version will be in the comments section on the video below, so you can always connect to that and give them a donation. As you can see, that every little bit helps, and we really appreciate all the work that they're doing. I'm going to give Frank a little bit of time to see if we can get him back in, because I can see that there are some nice questions coming through. So it will be a shame if we miss it. Otherwise, what we can always do is put the comments, we'll keep the comments in the sections, and we'll get Frank to respond to them afterwards once the show is no longer live. Because I see we've got a comment coming through from Winnie, who's saying work is incredible. So sad knowing you do all of this when your heart is broken, and to stay strong. And thank you for saving these poor souls. Frankie, are you back with us? We've got one more question, well, two more questions for you, and then hopefully your Wi-Fi will hold for it.
Okay. What are the questions? Sorry, because I didn't see them.
Okay. No, it's absolutely fine. So I was mentioning that it was Giving Day for apes coming up. Where would the funds go towards? So what's your priorities for that? Do you need me to repeat the question?
Can you hear me?
Yes. I think that we should be able to hear you now. It looks a little better. Okay. It seems that the Wi-Fi is just not playing ball today, and that happens with the live shows. Thank you everyone so much for your patience. Thank you everyone for joining in and liking, commenting and sharing. We've had some absolutely lovely comments, lots of support. Thank you so much for everything that you're doing, and continue to help working for animals, wildlife and protecting our wild species. But from me, all I have left to say is thank you very much and enjoy the rest of your day.